Okay. Third time's the charm. So, I'm not a financial expert in any way, shape, or form. This is just how I intend to retire on $2,000 a month, something like that. Most of the videos that I've seen on YouTube about retiring, especially for in Canada, have been about how to retire on $5 or $8 or $10 or $20,000 a month, or retiring on $1 million in RSPs. Well, I don't have that because I've never made that much money. To start with, just so you understand a bit better, I'm an Aspie, and I've been accused in the past of having Tourette's, which you'll understand after you watch the video. Also in April of 2024, I was diagnosed with severe COPD, which is not surprising because I smoked for 42 years. Legal tobacco smoke. Now, as far as my employment history, I graduated from high school in 1979 with my diploma at a time before personal computers, tablets, or cell phones. Basically, no technology at that time. I went directly into the family business, starting at $3 an hour. It was a sign business. My father started in 1957. Most of our family were fairly artistic, so it was just a natural progression. I worked a number of manual jobs until 2002, when I took some time off work to have my third consecutive horrible relationship, which put me on welfare. I got out of that with a job in Guelph in 2003, and I managed to work that job up to $22 an hour in December of 2008. Now, in January of 2009, I was laid off permanently because of the recession. In November of 2009, I started a silk screening position at a company in Winnipeg for $13 an hour. And in the 16 months I worked there, I never got a raise. And they weren't doing well, so I switched companies. So in February of 2011, I went to what would be my last employer, and I started for $12.50 an hour in the sheet metal department. At the end of my probation, I was bumped up to $14 an hour. Now, I did mostly production work until entering the office in 2017, and on my last day of work there, I was making $52,000 a year salary. Now, in Canada at the time, $56,000 was the beginning of middle class, which means I was still in what's considered to be a low income earner at $52,000 a year. Now, this retirement isn't my choice, really. In October of 2023, I was terminated after 12 and a half years with the company, just after my 62nd birthday. Now, what had actually happened was in 2022, the company had been sold by its Canadian owners to an American conglomerate, and exactly a year later, I and 53 other people lost our jobs to downsizing. So I was terminated without cause. I received what I thought was a decent severance, since I've never had a severance before, which was a continued salary. So I kept getting paid on the same schedule every 2 weeks until July of 2024. At that point, I started on employment insurance, which I would receive until I got a job where it ran out. What I found was that when I spoke to certain employers and such, trying to get employment at 63 years old, or 63 and a half, which I am now, was nigh impossible, because the employers didn't want to put in the time and effort to train somebody that they knew was just going to retire in a few years anyway. Now, had I had a job that I loved doing, I probably would have worked past 65. But as it turns out, I really don't have any marketable skills at this time. These days you really need to be mostly, I guess, computer skills and that type of thing. I could still do, potentially get back into manual labor positions, but the COPD hampers that. And after rotator cuff issues on both shoulders back in 2013, certainly didn't help with that. So basically, my options are really limited. So what we've decided is it's best for me just to retire. I'm not completely broke. I started saving at 50 years old, just due to circumstance beyond my control. And I've managed to, because I live a very frugal life, I've managed to save $43,000 in that time, personally. There was also a mandatory pension on the last company I worked for, which gives me an additional $38,000. So, and with Canada Pension Plan payments, which will start next month or the next one after that, which will be roughly $1,000 a month, I'll have that to live on until beyond 65. But at 65, I can get additional payments from the government for being old. But you know, so it's not terrible, but it's definitely not a income level that would allow for world travel or having lots of toys to play with and all of that. So I don't own any of that now, and I haven't really ever had anything like that. I have what I have, what I need. Basically, everything I have is older, it's paid for, and I get by for what I like to do. I don't own a home, rent an apartment, or have a cottage on the lake. I do not have a new vehicle or plan to buy a new vehicle. I have an older boat, an older trailer, and that's what I'll have until I have to replace them. And when I have to, I'll replace them with something older again. I'm never buying new, ever. As far as accommodation, I rent a room in a friend's house. I've been renting rooms for the last 25 years. It's what I do. It's not that much different than, say, those people that live on a narrow boat or in a travel trailer somewhere because they can't afford to buy a house, which is very common here. So I live in a 10 by 16 room in a friend's house. I've remodeled it to suit what I like and what I need. I do have additional storage around the house and in outbuildings for my woodworking equipment, my canoes, my camping and fishing equipment. We live in the country outside of Winnipeg, so we have the additional space for things like my boat in the backyard and that kind of thing. In October of 2023, I purchased a 2000 Dutchman 26-foot travel trailer, which was going to be my vacation home, or my retirement home, I guess you could say, and have it at the place that I took my vacations at every year, which is Packrush Lake Camp. So that's where I'll be spending my summers. I drive a 2010 Toyota Highlander with 288,000 kilometers on it. My old Dutchman trailer is being upgraded this year to a 2007 Palomino 27-foot with a slide, so it'll be more comfortable. My intention is to spend the season at my trailer in northwestern Ontario at my friend's camp, and where I'll have my boat as well. And you know, when I initially bought my old Dutchman trailer back in 2023. I had joked with my boss that it was going to be my retirement home. And as funny as it would be, 2 weeks after I bought it, I lost my job. So basically it's become my summer retirement home. I'll be spending the seasons, which basically May through end of September, early October, up there, and just fishing and exploring and collecting video like I like to do for my channel. Main reason everything I have is older, it's paid for. Ideally, you want to retire without debt. That would be ideal. I may have to replace them at some point, but if and when that time comes, I'll just buy used stuff again. I don't want any of this new stuff that is overpriced, and parts are very expensive and you don't really need. What you retire on depends on what your expectations are. Mine are simple. I want a nice, peaceful life which doesn't tax my condition and allows me to continue doing what I enjoy doing, which is my channel, fishing, exploring, restoring canoes, building canoes, and that kind of thing. That's all I need out of my life. That's what makes me happy, and that's what I want to do. I created a document showing what I expect my expenditures will be in retirement. This is primarily now in 2025, retiring at 63 and a half years old. Obviously this can change. It could be more, it could be less, depending on how life goes. So, and this is what we have. Epidemic Sound is for royalty-free music for videos. YouTube Premium, partly because I have a channel and their servers they pay for host my channel, but primarily for the fact that I can watch YouTube without ads. My phone is a Moto G Play 2024 smartphone, which cost me $149, and my plan is $38 a month for unlimited talk and text and 50 gigabytes of data per month. That's all I need. My phone spends most of its life turned off anyway, so I don't like phones. I don't like talking on phones. I don't like talking at cameras, but so be it. That's life. Mossy Earth is a organization in Europe which is rewilding areas that have been damaged, and I'm all about saving the planet, so I don't mind sending them money every month. Adobe, I have to pay a sub for the right to use a program I purchased in 2014. Now I use Lightroom for when I'm doing time lapses that have photographs, because the program I use for rendering the time lapses, which is LR time lapse, requires me to use an Adobe product. So I'll either have to stop doing time lapses with photos or find a program that I can render with that doesn't require Adobe products. Netflix I'll probably keep just because ultimately it's inexpensive compared to going to a movie theater. Vehicle insurance, because I don't commute into the city anymore, dropped to $1,428 a year. Vehicle maintenance would be just oil changes every 5,000 K. Trailer insurance would be what Manitoba Public Insurance requires to plate the trailer, even though it spends most of its time sitting on a site. I'd like to get insurance for contents for the trailer because I have $15,000 in electronics for recording for my channel. Site fees are $13.25, reasonable. Again, MPI, license fees for the trailer for the boat. Boat insurance, probably can't get it. Probably won't be able to get boat insurance. It's difficult to come by. Blue Cross is the health plan that I pay $166 a month to, that covers the parts that our public healthcare doesn't cover, as it vision, dental, and medications. Now, my plan is supposed to cover $2,000 a year for medications, and it hasn't been doing that, so I may drop Blue Cross entirely and just pay for my medications myself, because it would be less expensive for me to do that. My rent, when I'm at the trailer, my rent's half of what I would normally pay. My vehicle fuel went down drastically when I lost my job, because I no longer needed to put in a tank of gas every week. So I've gone from weekly tank of gas to every 6 to 10 weeks, depending on time of the year. Obviously, I use more in the summertime, but for the winter time, as I said, I've gone 10 weeks on a tank. Boat fuel, don't know yet. I don't know. I didn't get to use the boat that much last year, so I really don't know what kind of fuel economy I'll get with it. We'll find out this year. Propane for the trailer and the barbecue. Park fees, which is for the provincial park next door, where I dump my black tank and do my laundry. Fishing licenses, free once I turn 65, which will be August of next year. Beverages are basically my beer fund. I generally don't drink in the winter time, only in the summer. My favorite beer I can only get in Ontario, so that's where I drink it. Food for while I'm at the trailer, line of credit. Part of the new trailer cost will be on the line of credit, so there'll be monthly payments until that gets down. Credit card. There are things that you can only get with a credit card you can't get with cash or debit, so that's budgeted there. And as far as video equipment, computer equipment, miscellaneous, don't know. I buy primarily all of my recording equipment, GoPros and that, off eBay, because I prefer older stuff. I have purchased a little bit of new things, the ROV and that last year, but ideally everything works how it should and I don't have to replace it. I do need to update the processor in my desktop computer I do the editing on, but that'll come in time. So that's basically my projected expenses for retirement beginning this year, and it could go up, could go down, I don't know. And I always have the potential to take on a part-time job to increase my income, to allow more freedom. Ideally would be a winter seasonal job, and even at Manitoba's minimum wage of $15.80 an hour, that would be more than adequate to increase what I can do within my retirement. So this is it. That's what I'm going to do. I'm retiring at 63 and a half out of necessity. Thanks for watching.